Hi, my name is Liz Hathaway and this is my astrological look at the week ahead, and that's the week starting Monday the 11th of January 2021. So this is the week that Uranus Stations Direct, and I think that is a really interesting sort of factor in this week, because it's also the week, certainly a week today, in fact, I'm recording this on a Sunday, that we get the first and only Jupiter square to Uranus. And this is quite a weighty Uranus because it's stationary, it's stationed in direct, so it'll be a while before it gets back, shall we say, on steam. So yeah, it's a one-off square. It's not a massively sort of long cycle, Jupiter-Uranus. It's something like 13 years, something like that. It's the final square in this current cycle. But, you know, it's an interesting sort of square because we see on Monday already, Mercury is conjuncting Jupiter. So there's these new ideas coming in. I mean, this is a very sort of, you know, socially experimental sort of square, quite a utopian square in a way. You know, Aquarius, very utopian. And it's also got a kind of political feel to it, I think. You know, Uranus as well has that affinity with Aquarius, even though at the moment it's in a very conservative, quite a slow moving sign. So it's almost like radical conservatism in a way. So yeah, Jupiter conjunct with Mercury on Monday. So this you know, Mercury in Aquarius is quite significant because it's going to go retrograde at the, you know, late in the sign, and it's going to sort of move backwards into, so it's having quite a bit of a stay in Aquarius. So it's kind of getting these ideas rooted, getting you know, the collective ready in a way for the bigger square of the year, which is of course Saturn square Uranus. That's the big square of the year, and we're already starting to see the themes coming through. Actually, I think I mentioned this in my overview of the year, this idea of, you know, policing or sort of the net, or in a way, you know, curbing it, cutting back on it, because the net's having its return as well. It's Saturn return, I should say. So Mercury conjunct Jupiter in Aquarius, this is a sort of note of clarity, because when we get into the, I think we've got the new moon this week on Wednesday, which, by the way, I'll put a link in the notes below. I did quite a long session on this new moon with Laura Boomer Trent for the Cosmic Intelligence Agency. So we talk quite a lot about Mercury, because while Neptune is squaring the nodal axis at the moment, and don't forget all of the planets at the moment as well are in this sort of a bundle, and they're kind of, you know, in this within the sort of all of them are within that half of the zodiac covered by the Gemini North Node, Sagittarius South Node. So Mercury ruling the North Node is a player, and it's an interesting player in a period where Neptune is squaring the nodal axis. So my take on that is it's clarity of thought. It's not being fooled. It's not being taken in by nonsensical ideas. And also, you know, we're in Capricorn season, which is very much about keeping your own counsel, you know, sort of checking in with yourself. You know, not just taking everything at face value, being a bit questioning. So Jupiter conjunct, this Mercury-Jupiter conjunction on Monday, I think is interesting. On Tuesday, of course, Mercury then engages with, you know, Uranus in Taurus. So as I said, some of the sort of energy, or some of the way that Uranus in Taurus is manifesting at the moment, it's in radical conservatism in a way. It's kind of, it's almost like committed to, you know, almost the past. I always think of Taurus as being very much about rural, about, you know, before industrial, if you like, an attachment to the land, to the old system, to the old way of doing things. If we think in terms of money, you know, not sort of bitcoins, but real money in your pocket. You know, this is kind of Taurus. So Mercury square Uranus, what might we expect? Yeah, I mean, you know, some kind of shocking revelation, or some kind of eruption, anger, or, you know, sort of dissent, voices of dissent. And that's happening on the day as well that Venus is squaring Chiron. So also there, you know, with Venus in Capricorn, Chiron in Aries, you know, it's trying, I think, to quieten the mind a bit, not to sort of get lost in the foggy mist of Neptune, but to try and, you know, search for higher ground, to try and think of ways forward for yourself, or, you know, for your close associates, to find a way that is loving. Because Venus is also, when we look at the new moon, this is something we Laura and I also really talk about a lot in the CIA transmission, as we call it, is Venus being the practical director at the moment in that bundle. And, you know, so the focus on harmony, the focus on what we share, the shared values. This is very much Capricorn, right? It's what shared values do we have? What solid values do we have? Because there is always more, ultimately, that unites us and brings us together than separates us. So it's a big week. We have Mars square Saturn as well on Wednesday. That is a difficult square. Mars is currently in Taurus, so it has a lot of power. It has a lot of, what, you know, we all know what the bull's like when it's charged up. You know, there's, you know, it really, it's a dangerous force, right? Mars in Taurus, and then square Saturn, though Saturn in Aquarius, in many ways, Aquarius being the sort of society, and Saturn the laws that govern it. We can see here, you know, that, you know, any kind of resistance that, you know, that Mars pushes forward, Saturn in Aquarius is going to meet it with equal force. In terms of our personal lives and our personal, shall we say, probably my dog barking there. Funny, as we just talking Mars square Saturn, Homer, quiet. Mars square Saturn, we have to ease up a little bit on ourselves, because Mars square Saturn, it can be a kind of a hard taskmaster sort of energy. You know, something has to happen, something has to be done, but it's done in a way that is unremitting. You know, it's unfeeling. It's not open to you know, sob stories, or you know, the mitigating factors. No, it's not buying into that. It's this, you know, it's the law book. This is what it says. This is article number whatever, and throw the book at you, you know. So it's kind of, in terms of our own goals as well, we can be incredibly sort of driven, but in a way that is exhausting. It's kind of, because this is the sense of the job has to be done as well. So that kind of like, yeah, we have to do it. There's not no question of enjoying it, or, you know, it's more like a task. It's a difficult square. I always think Mars square Saturn. So fortunately on Thursday it's followed by Venus trine Uranus, and then we see on Thursday Uranus moving forward on the day, by the way, that the Sun conjuncts Pluto. Sun conjunct Pluto takes us into that sort of energy of change. It's a real sort of, you know, change from the caterpillar to the butterfly or the moth or whatever. It's a kind of change on such a fundamental level that the old form no longer is suffice. It's a mega change. It's a mega sort of break out into from, if you know what I mean. And this is happening, as I said, on the day of the Uranus Station Direct. That's a real sort of kind of, what could we call it? It's a eureka moment in a way. Maybe, you know, Pluto can also give insight as well into things. And on the same day we have Venus trine Uranus, so it's freeing up. It's maybe in a way Venus attachment, as I said, to structure in relationships. But Uranus is saying here, but, you know, we can change that structure in a way that will still give you pleasure. You don't have to forgo on the things that you like, if we do it in this new way, new ways of relating that Venus in Capricorn feels comfortable with. And then we get, as I say, on always moving forward to the Jupiter square Uranus, which is set in the landscape for the Saturn Uranus square. So yeah, it's social experimentation. It's I think Jupiter is the kindly teacher who wants to show us or wants us to learn things in ways that are organic. You know the good teacher that you had at school, and everybody enjoys the lessons and everybody does their homework. That's Jupiter. Whereas Uranus, on the other hand, certainly at the moment, I think it's that sort of idea of turning the tables, the need to shake things up, but in ways that are, kind of almost conservative, almost old school, almost, it's as I say, I see this as being radically conservative. So it's a really interesting week. We should be open, because it's only a one-time Jupiter square Uranus, for different visions, for different viewpoints, for different standards, which is Venus in Capricorn. We should also be earthing our intentions. And if you really would like to hear more about this whole idea of intentions and how to look at this new moon in the individual houses of the chart, do check out the lunar transmission. I'll put the link below. So have a great week. Enjoy Uranus going direct. Thanks for listening. I'm going to press the button. Bye.